You are listening to Just Roll With It. Jonathan is your lore master. Christine plays the channeler Amena Valare. Neil plays the Ogier Quirkus, son of Ilex. Aradia plays the channeler Pymer Dothorin Akel. And Fate plays the Child of the Light, Lance Akashi.
You guys were on your way to resupply a Child of the Light way station a little bit to the north and west because of an oncoming storm, and your new promoted ranks as the heroes of Del Sharandu, however contrived and artificial that particular title might be. The storm showed up, you stopped for the night in a clearing, met a couple of very interesting people, had a semi-tense night of sleeping and being unsure of what was going on, and then in the morning you were all rewarded and sent on your way. And as you left the clearing, you felt the glow of the power diminish behind you, and you turned around and you couldn't see anything. It looked just like a regular clearing. The two people were gone, the farmhouse was gone, and the storm has apparently broken. You were Breakin told you that it was probably just the front of the storm, that there was more coming, but it currently is merely overcast and not dumping rain or lightning and thunder on you.
Well, that was strange.
I don't know how I feel about it, to be honest.
I mean, I got a musket out of it, so I'm not too unhappy right now, but that was really weird. Can I, examine the musket for any sort of clues as to its former
Absolutely.
owner?
That would be an investigation check.
Because I feel like I just sort of grabbed it, with my usual lack of paying attention to details.
Gun. Okay, give me.
Yeah, 9.
It's pretty.
Yeah.
With a 9, there doesn't seem to be any obvious ornamentation. It is clean. It doesn't appear to be very used. The metal is still fairly shiny. It doesn't appear to have a lot of corrosion on the inside. It's not quite ceremonial, because you think if it was ceremonial, there would be more gilt and there would probably be chrome bits or whatever the case would be. So it looks functional. It just doesn't look very much used at all. But there's no small clues that would divulge anything beyond probably some sort of locally manufactured musket.
I really wish I had asked Breakin about this before just running out of there like a kid in a candy shop.
Yeah, you didn't even hesitate at the other stuff. You knew exactly what you were going for.
Very one-track mind.
So, looking at the histories, what do I know about mine? Do I know anything about mine? 20.
So you picked up the longsword. It does not bear a heron on it. However, it looks like it was forged yesterday. And as you sort of give it a few test swings, and maybe you run it alongside part of the wagon as you're just going along just to see, it is incredibly sharp. And even after you get the idea to sort of maybe run over and hack at a small tree, the tree comes down pretty quickly, and there appears to be no damage to the blade whatsoever.
All right.
That's pretty cool.
So, I have a badass weapon. What do you have, Pymer?
I mean, it's longer, and we'll throw the fire boom farther. So there's nothing really notable about it, but it has a bigger range than the pistol, so that's cool.
Huh. Then I'm gonna look at Amena. What about you?
Well, I'm so glad you asked. I got this very cool diadem, and I don't know anything about it, I don't think. I don't know, and I just kind of start looking at it and inspecting it and trying to get a sense for where it came from and, if there's any significance attached to it. So I'm going to do an investigation check also.
Why don't you go ahead and give me
Arcana?
an Arcana check?
Oh, I knew you were going to say that. 6.
It's real pretty.
It's so pretty.
You do get a general haze. As you're kind of looking at it, maybe you weave together a few strands of spirit and you're kind of, tapping at it, just trying to see. And you're starting to realize that as different flows hit it, that the diadem seems to be reacting differently. You feel like you should probably sit and spend some time with it. In D&D terms, what we call is you need to attune to it, which means you basically need a short rest sitting there and staring at it and sort of investigating it and magically kind of poking it with the power just to see what you can learn from it, and then all of its secrets will be revealed to you.
I am so ready to attune myself to this diadem and then wear it.
Caught a little bit of what you were doing. It seems like that maybe has some cool tricks.
Right?
That sounds so wrong, though.
What was that?
That sounds so wrong, though. I'm gonna attune myself.
Whatever. White cloak.
Oh.
Spicy.
I'm just gonna look over and be like,
You're just jealous.
I know you're jealous of how nice and clean I am compared to you.
I am extremely fastidious. Thank you very much. Don't you dare throw shade at me.
So, Quirkus, what'd you snag from the shed of wonderment?
I received this magnificent cloak, which allows me to completely disappear and surprise you.
What? I don't know if I can deal with stealth oak here.
No, I'm just really trying to make you afraid. I received a cloak which gives me extra armor protection and saving throws. I don't know how to translate saving throws into D&D, non-D&D language. So makes me harder to surprise.
You just feel a little bit more protected. You're just a little, it's thick, so it's a little hardier if you get hit. It's not necessarily anything to do with the one power that you can figure out, but in mechanical terms, it adds 1 to your AC and 1 to all of your saving throws.
Cool.
Well, it fits really well, so that's probably awesome.
Which is surprising. It's a full-sized cloak for an ogier. It's not a weird half cloak, or it doesn't stop at your ankles or something.
Does it have
awkward.
large pockets for my books?
As you look on the inside, there are a couple of very large, deep pockets indeed.
Ask if it has anything else, because it probably will. A compass?
Now is the time.
Magic water cloak.
A never-ending pen?
I could do a twirl if you want.
Ooh, would you please?
You want me to flare my cape?
Yes,
Cape
yes,
flare.
yes.
Yes, do it. Do it.
I'll do a nice cape flare a la Senor Ryder.
Go ahead and give me a performance.
Oh no. You don't want me to do it.
Oh no, you said it. You're doing it.
I have an astonishingly high charisma.
I don't think. Well, Amena might have high charisma. I don't remember. Actually, okay.
I think I do.
15's not bad. So
It's pretty good.
Don't stumble as you kind of do a cutesy little spin twirl. And to Amena's eyes, it's a little pedestrian. It's not, like
Come on.
catwalky.
My charisma's 21, so,
But for a large ogier, it was pretty good.
You're very agile for an ogier.
Yeah, I'm impressed.
Lance is so impressed that he stumbles over his sword whilst he's watching. Full flush on his face.
As long as the cloak stays clean.
You just went up in my estimation, Ogier. I mean, that was some very fine twirling. Well done.
You prioritize the most important
I
thing.
totally thought you said that he went up in your thing for tripping me.
Oh, I mean, that's just an added plus.
So, do we know how far we are to our destination?
Roughly halfway.
Is there any sense of if the weather's changing for the worse again?
Go ahead and give me an investigation check.
8.
The clouds, and the birds are still singing, so that's got to mean something.
All right. Well, we should probably get down the road. That is the point of what we're doing, but not in a hurry.
Get on
I guess.
down. Get on down.
Aside from, I don't know.
Could I send my eagle friend out ahead of us to scout if there are any people on the road ahead for the next few miles?
Sure.
I'll just look up into the air and wave a hand, just point in that direction, and somehow the eagle sees me and scurries off ahead.
Go ahead and give me an animal handling check. Let's see how well the eagle listens.
Okay. He's busy looking at mice and rodents and the other rodents.
Well,
in the field.
it is an eagle. Eagles are regal creatures. It doesn't necessarily like being told what to do,
What's the point of me having him then?
Well, fair. So, but it does eventually listen. It just decides on its own time when it wants to listen, at least in this particular case. But does eventually alight and fly off in a sort of northwesterly direction.
I'll just look at the others and say, fear not, my eagle friend has decided he will consider doing as I've requested within the next hour.
Well, I'm greatly reassured.
Yeah.
He's basically a terrier of the sky.
Terrier of the sky.
Terror in
Yeah.
the sky, maybe.
Okay, so I guess we just carry on.
Okay. And half an hour goes by, 45 minutes goes by. Eventually, your eagle appears again overhead and does a couple of circles and then comes down. Makes a little bit of an attitude as it comes in. Is it I don't know if we established it last episode. Male, female? Does it matter?
No, that doesn't really. Let's
Okay.
make it a female, because female golden eagles are usually larger, so more imposing.
Fair enough. So she comes back in, and you can see that she's got something in her beak. And as you sort of hold out your hand, she deposits it. And it's a little scrap of cloth that is dyed a very vibrant purple color.
Oh, Lance, look, this would go fantastically with your cloak. Can I examine it to see if there's any traces of writing or anything like that?
Absolutely. Go ahead and give me an investigation check.
23.
Okay. So it's just a small scrap of cloth. There doesn't appear to be any writing to it. But as you get close, your big ogier nostrils get a whiff, and there are scents coming from the little cloth. You smell wood fire, like maybe a campfire, and whatever the Wheel of Time equivalent of patchouli is.
Oh my god, hippies wear this cloth.
I know where we're going.
Yep.
I would just ignore that and say, "Oh, I think there are people camped up ahead somewhere. We should be on our guard."
People, huh?
People. Yes.
People that wear bright purple.
And hang out by campfires.
I am an ogier. I'm just not getting into any of this.
Ogiers are people too.
No, they are ogier. Don't sully ogier with human.
Well, I mean, they're humanoid.
Oh, sassy! He gets a cloak and all of a sudden it's like,
I know.
It's just better than everybody else because
I'm not a human.
Fancy cape. Whatever. All right, well, let's go meet these people. Maybe I can shoot at them.
oh yeah, great idea. Especially if it's the people I think it is.
It's about humankind in one
When
go.
did we become murder hobos, you guys? Was it murder hobos clear back at the bear?
He didn't say he was gonna kill them, just shoot at
Kill
them.
the bear. We didn't kill
No,
the
we
bear.
think of that.
Yeah, we're like humanitarian hobos.
Excuse me, you were not
No.
such a humanitarian with that bear. I feel like I need to remind you.
Walking up the road out of the group. Because I have long legs, so I can easily
true.
get out in front. Okay, so continuing up the road, keeping an eye out for people dressed in purple and other bright colors who may or may not be having a drum circle.
Some kind of circle.
Whoa, now I don't know if that's part of the way of the leaf.
Oh, come on! I didn't even mean that. You know what?
You're Damani. I was assuming based on.
No.
Anyway, you travel for probably about another hour when you all start to smell what smells like a campfire.
Okay, so it's mid-afternoon?
About 4 or 5 p.m. It's getting on.
Okay, so, maybe this is somewhere where we can pull in and camp for the night, and they won't be creepy and terrifying. We can hang out with normal people for an evening. That would
I
be
bet they're
nice.
super chill.
Perfectly normal, unsurprising people.
Do you think it's wise to approach them without sneaking up on them?
You just walk up the road.
You want to test your cloak out, don't you?
You want me to go twirling down the road?
Well, I mean, doesn't it make it harder for you to be seen?
No, it does not.
No?
I'm gonna look over at Pimer and be like, there's a problem in the world when we're the ones that they should be worried about, and we're the weird ones.
This is true.
I'm just gonna keep headed on towards the camp.
Yeah, same. Just walking up the road, all nonchalant and obvious.
I mean, this is 4th age. Yeah, there's bad guys, or bad creatures, but at the same time, we're all travelers.
That's true. And I just kind of like stopped for a second and stopped talking because I just now realized that I was so distracted by my diadem that I totally thought that the Ogier's cloak was like a warder cloak. And this whole time I've been waiting for him to disappear and been extremely disappointed that it's not happening. So I'm just going to zip it.
So the estimation that I had gained has now plummeted.
Just like maybe this much.
I can still twirl.
Well, and you made the white cloak trip, so I'm like...
Yes. Net benefit +1, probably.
It's a wash.
So what is the current situation? Who's riding in the wagon? Who's next to the wagon? Who's in front of the wagon? Behind the wagon?
I'm out in front.
Okay.
She taught me how to guide the horse. So.
Well, he taught you how to guide the horse.
Fuck me. He taught me how to guide the horse.
Yeah, so I'm like watching, like, yeah, that's how you do farm animals. You can do the farm thing. We'll have you scything hay in no time. It's fine.
And eventually, you come up a small rise, and off to the right, the road takes a gentle turn to the left, and there's a small brook with a very small bridge. But camped right there, right before the bridge, is a circle of wagons painted every garish color in the rainbow, with a large campfire built, and there appear to be a bunch of people just sort of milling around. As you get closer, you start hearing dog sounds, and a pair of big, like, woolly dogs run up and startle the horse. Just kind of, they're sitting there like, they don't appear to be aggressive, but their tongues are kind of lolling out, and they're looking between everybody, and they just have, like, doggy smiles on.
Aww, I love big, shaggy dogs.
All right, poppers! Poppers! I'm gonna go in for scritching their dog faces, because, I mean, it's clearly Tinker dogs. I mean, like, they're fine. And so in that moment of suspended bliss in which one is making contact with new puppers, what do we know about Tinkers in the 4th age?
That's going to require a history check.
Okay, because even I know what Tinkers look like, but okay, 19.
Okay, so not a whole lot has changed from the 3rd age to the 4th age. They still follow the way of the leaf. They're still looking for the song. More of them have come to realize that the song is more of an ideal than they're not actually looking for a song. It's just part of what they do. So they're not as uptight about it, but it's generally just a bunch of people who still don't choose to do any violence, kind of just trying to attain the song, which they have come to realize is more of a state of awareness or bliss.
Okay.
Socially, you'll be able to spend the night with them, and it won't be a problem. They'll probably feed you. They might try and get you to smoke something. I mean, it's real laid back.
And is there like a little is there like a subcult of Guy Shine still living with them?
Not really. That part, I don't know if it would have translated all the way from the 3rd age to the 4th age. There is, think of 4th age Tinkers very much as, and I don't mean this disparagingly, the millennial hippies who are choosing to emulate a past age, but sort of in their own way. And I don't mean, but that's like what you would call the hipsters today are sort of emulating the hippies from the 60s and 70s kind of thing. They're just doing their own spin on it. It's kind of like that.
Cool. So yeah, I'm totally just like down there like poppers, because poppers.
Okay.
How would we be received given that we have all of these weapons? Should I just look at everyone else and say, do you think we should hide our weapons?
I'm gonna look back at the Ogier and be like, no, because if we hide them and they find them for some reason or see them, then it's more of an issue where if we wear them right off the bat, we can put them away, and then they get that sense of comfort from us.
It's wise. Surprisingly wise, Lance.
I'm not Ryder! Damn it.
No, that seems like a very reasonable thing for a child of the light
Yes.
to know how to deal with all the different cultures on the road.
I'm gonna look over. Did you say that or did Pimer say that?
Yes.
Okay. Look over and be like, I told you. I want everyone to understand who and what the Children of the Light are now.
They're culturally sensitive, apparently.
Who would have thought?
Who would have
Character
thought?
development? What?
Strange.
Well, I am my weapon, so I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing.
This is my safety. That's a line from Black Hawk Down. One of the Delta. Everyone's supposed to have their weapons on safe in the compound, and one of the Delta guys doesn't. And they're like, "Soldier, you need to have that weapon on safe." And it's played by Eric Bana, and he's all like rough and bearded or whatever. And he's
Yeah.
like, "Sir, this is my safety."
It's been a long time since I've seen that movie, so
That's fair. Anyway, do you head in towards the camp, or are you like bypassing it, or?
let's go say hi.
Yeah. I mean, we'll probably get food.
I'd say food smells really good. They can cook so much better than Pimer.
Yeah,
I mean, you are not wrong.
yeah. I think that's probably a safe assumption.
I agree.
So get up from scritching the dog chops and head on into the camp looking for whoever's going to come out and greet us.
Okay, and somebody does come out and greet you. He's got a green jerkin with a yellow sash and like a purple half cape. He's got sort of darkish reddish hair with really thick mutton chops that come down to almost beard, but not quite. And a fairly wide nose, and he's got this kind of sparkling blue eye. And he walks up and he presses both hands to his chest and he sort of bows. "You are welcome to our fires, strangers. Do you know the song?"
Shit, I remember this lesson. We don't know the song, but you'll find it someday. I mean, that's right?
We're still looking. I think it's like but we'll continue to look or something.
If we but remember, seek, and find. Yeah.
Roll
Yeah.
me a diplomacy check.
Diplomacy? Is
We're
that a thing?
sucking at this. You better roll high.
What am I thinking? That's a Pathfinder term.
Don't throw that stuff in here. No Pathfinder in
I'm
here.
apologizing.
Yeah, because I agree I need to make a check for that. But
Oh, you definitely need to. I just can't remember which skill it is. Why can I not remember what skill this is?
Would it be a history check?
performance?
Charisma?
Deception?
Yeah, no, give me just a charisma check. I don't remember which. That's my brain just farted for a second. So
Wow.
just do a performance or a charisma check. It's fine.
Okay. I'll go for performance because that was definitely me trying to flourish my way through a late report card. It's a 9.
And he kind of smiles in a "oh, you tried" kind of way and says, "Then we seek still. As it was, so it shall be, if we but remember, seek, and find."
Darn. I mean, it was pretty good, though.
He flourishes his hands and he's like, "Welcome to our fires, strangers. I am Madi Raylan."
Raylan. Nice to meet you. My name is Pimer, and this is Amena, Lance, and Quirkus, and we would love to hang out for a minute and swap tales of our travels.
And eat some food.
"Of course, be welcome." And he kind of looks around and sees that, you're not unarmed. "We would but ask that you allow us to peace bond your weapons so they may not be drawn in anger around our fire."
Oh, of course.
I'm going to look over at Pimer. How do you peace bond those?
You take the bullets out. Simple. Then it's just a bludgeoning weapon.
So a couple of very young teens kind of walk up and they have these white ribbons, and so they'll tie a ribbon around the sheath of Lance's sword so he can't pull it out. They'll tie a ribbon around the hammer of the musket and the pistol so it physically can't move. And Quirkus, you have your great axe, right?
I do.
It's on your back, or is it on your?
No, it's strapped across my back.
Okay. So they would, but it doesn't have a sheath. So they would basically peace bond. They put the sort of ribbon along the edge, not so much that it's going to cut through, but just more symbolically than actually trying to prevent you from doing anything. After all,
I'm going to hand them my second sword because for some reason they walked away before doing the other one.
And I'll do that one too. I forget the second sword.
Did he just wrap me up in a ribbon? Is that how that works?
And it looks very nice on you.
Of course it does.
No judgments, but you don't appear to have a physical weapon, so they're not going to go after you. But after all is said and done and they spend time peace bonding everything, Raylan sort of gestures back again to the fire and says, we have food, we have drink, we have tales, we have music. What brings you along this path?
We're escorting a wagon to the White Cloak, Children of the Light, the Children of the Light station up the road, and been trying to dodge some pretty nasty weather.
I'm going to quickly look over at Pimer and just,
It's true.
And Raylan kind of says, yes, there's a change of weather in the air. This approaching storm looks sort of nasty. We are also headed in that direction, but more so to escape the weather than to reach anywhere in particular as we continue to search for the song.
Where did you come from? Where were you last?
We have traveled from, all over. Most recently, we have come from Shinar, and will eventually make our way through the other borderlands, I would assume. Does anyone have any particular dietary issues? Because the food's about ready, and we don't want any upset stomachs for our guests.
No, we'll eat pretty much everything.
Amina won't eat anything cooked by a man.
That's not true.
He kind of looks back and forth between you two and kind of gives this look like, I don't want to get involved in whatever this is.
You don't.
Sort of just walks away. And several children come out and they have big glasses or big tankards of ale or whatever you would like to drink. And you're able to basically just sit by the fire and drink and hang out if that's something that you want to do.
I'm going to ask the leader how long they've been traveling in this area. Have you frequented the hills between Old Malkia and the Spine of the World for many years?
It has been a long time. Most recently, as I said, we were in Shinar, but before that, we traveled through Kyrian. We are just going where the light takes us.
Okay. Doesn't sound like they'd have any information on the encounters we had with the dogs and your friend Pimer.
Yeah, that guy.
Andre?
Yeah, I don't know how to ask them questions of interestingness. They're traveling west, which means north and west, which means that they would have passed through Dal Sharandu not that long ago, maybe? Did they pass through Dal Sharandu?
They would have gone. Raylan would tell you they had gone around it.
Oh, right.
They're still not about the population centers.
I want to ask them if they had any issues with bandits or any other ne'er-do-wells on the road, or if the children are keeping all the roads safe, even the back roads that I know the traveling people use. No,
we have not had any issues with bandits. We are very careful and choose not to remain in areas too long. You are the first group that we've really seen in a while, which sort of surprised us, but we haven't had any issues.
Well, and I've been looking at their dogs, and I'm kind of curious. I can't quite tell because of the way their fur is, but do they wear collars?
They do not wear collars.
Oh.
Ooh, good question.
Thanks. And then I look at Rayleigh and I just ask him, by any chance, have you lost any dogs recently, or do you have any that have maybe run away and not come back?
And he looks concerned for a moment. He kind of looks around. You can see him kind of doing mental arithmetic in his head. And then he's like, no, we appear to have them all. Have you encountered others?
Did the dogs we encounter match, tanker dogs?
They did not.
Size-wise.
Oh, they did not?
No. The tinker dogs are closer to, Irish wolfhounds.
They are.
And the dogs that you encountered would have been closer to something like a Doberman Pinscher or a Pity.
Oh, okay.
But beefy, hunting dogs, whereas the wolfhounds are shaggy, sort of
adorable.
Yeah, they're just kind of hey guys.
And goofballs.
Yeah, they're definitely not the angry, sentry type dogs that you encountered.
They are perfection. I love these dogs. I think they're so wonderful, and there's one in particular that I just keep just kind of like scratching its head. And I love it because the head comes up so high, I don't even have to bend over. He just scratches his little head.
Basically waist-ish height.
I know,
for you, yeah.
I know.
They're huge.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I've also adopted one. Just like me and this dog
Yeah.
are buds now. Because, I've got some food, right? So I'm just like making sure that this dog is my best friend. Yeah, I can't think of anything.
So what are we eating?
Well, there's a variety of things. It's funny, the dish he brings to you, Amina, could almost be from home. It's sort of a layer of rice or quinoa, and then you have strips of meat covered in a sauce, and he legitimately hands you a pair of Sirsa, the chopsticks, and everybody else is basically getting the same, but they're also just getting spoons.
Oh,
Oh.
Well, there's no way an Ogier's fingers could close around chopsticks, so I'm looking at I'm secretly rather glad that I have a proper shovel.
And, well, it's funny that you say that, because as they're bringing out the food, Raylan kind of looks at you for a second, and then nods to himself and walks back to get the food, and basically comes out with something that looks more akin to like a salad bowl than a human-sized bowl, and gives that to you, so it's a little bit more sized proportionally for
Right,
your
yeah.
for your frame.
Maybe if he has any baguettes, I could use them as chopsticks. Edible chopsticks. In that case,
yummy.
I'm going to say, tell me, have you visited any of the steading along the border with the former Mountains of Doom?
We have not, although it is my day to one day see all of them, but we believe that the Ogier, no offense to present company, do not possess the song, so we need to be looking elsewhere.
That is an interesting viewpoint. As I recall my history, the Ogier worked hand in hand with your predecessors during the Age of Legends.
That is the currently accepted ideal.
Everyone just heard Loremaster go, oh fuck.
And is it not the case that Ogier generations are far shorter or far fewer in number since the Age of Legends than you humans?
That is definitely true.
So why is it that you believe the Ogier know nothing of the song?
Oh, this is like a smackdown.
Sassy Ogier.
Ogier smackdown. I like it.
Raylan will put his dish down, and he kind of looks at you, and he says, Master Ogier, if we may be frank with each other,
Of course.
it is the belief among us, as well as several other bands of the Tuatha'an, that the song will only be found by a human, and that perhaps it is the assistance of the Ogier in previous ages that has held us back from finding the song in the first place.
Oh, damn.
Interesting. I would like to see you debate this at the Great Stump.
I would too.
I suspect there would be some interest in your arguments, however founded on evidence or otherwise they might be. I, of course, am not interested in the song myself. I am interested in the trees. Perhaps it is that we have pursued botany and more natural science-related investigations rather than prioritizing entertainment.
I'm gonna continue eating my popcorn as I watch this
I
happen.
was just gonna say, like, where's the popcorn?
I'm gonna offer it to Pimer and Amena,
I'm gonna reach my hand over and get a handful of popcorn.
and just sit there and be like, "Did you guys know he could be this angry?"
I love it. I love it. This is so great.
I mean, I had hints, but that was just over fried potatoes. I mean, this is like real important shit.
I forgot about the potatoes.
My ears are probably twitching quite violently at the moment, not knowing whether I've gone over the mark. I'm whispering to myself, hasty, hasty. Too much time spent around the humans.
It's all the caffeine we keep giving you.
Exactly. Trying to force those potato things on me.
I love the sight of our Ogier.
Raylan is fully, like, no expression. Like, he's absolutely the neutral-faced emoji right now. And he's almost visibly collecting his thoughts. Like, he's not reacting. He's internalizing it all, which is, just great for your own mental health. And he's thinking, and he says, Master Ogier, I believe you are mistaking the pursuit of the perfection of the physical experience as entertainment. One might say that studying things that grow in the ground to the exclusion of all else going on in the world might be short-sighted and naive when compared with the grandioseness of the universe.
Hearing that, I'm gonna stand up and like walk over to the Ogier and just be like, "Hey, we've got some questions for you."
Oh, okay. I'll come and answer your questions, and I'll just excuse myself from Rain or whatever his name is, and Raylan, and say, "Excuse me, I would love to debate the fact that humans are far more transient in this universe than biological species
Quercus.
such as trees, which have been around for over 300 million years."
Quercus.
And but I'm afraid I must answer some questions from my friends. It's been a long day on the road.
I understand. Please feel free to sleep by the fire over there.
I'm gonna look over at Raylan and just give that like, "I am so sorry" look, and just come back over here. And then I'm gonna sit down and be like, "So Pimer had a question for you."
Interested in the length of time that plant species have taken to evolve.
Yes,
Sure.
we are. Yes.
Yes, very much interested in the passing of the years and the months. Yeah.
And I'm just giving him a very penetrating stare, as if I don't really believe that.
No, the thing that you talked about with how trees and birds aren't the same thing, I was really interested with that. I was wondering if you could.
I'm gonna need a deception check from Pimer.
Oh God. 12.
Okay, and since this is an opposed roll, I need a perception check from Quercus.
Okay. 18.
He is lying. He is lying. He is a lying liar pants.
I believe that you are less interested in plant life than in your musket. However, you have provided me an opportunity to restrain myself from getting into an intellectual debate with someone who is far beneath me, and I am grateful for that.
Thanks for not killing me for lying.
You will learn to be interested in the trees. Spending time outdoors, I think, will be good for you, Pine.
I mean, it's the best place for target practice.
I'm gonna continue eating popcorn and offer some more to Amena.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna sort of look around at everything other than Quercus for just a quick minute, just as an excuse to break eye contact. And just kind of, I want to look at the Tinker group as a whole and kind of assess, like, do they seem well off? Have they been traveling, like, really quickly because they're getting away from something? Is there, like, tension or a lack thereof? Anything notable about the group?
Sure, roll me another perception check.
7. Jesus, I'm rolling bad tonight.
There's a lot of them. There's probably 24 of them. With a 7, I will grant you that Raylan probably looks in his mid-40s, and he probably is the oldest in the group. Everybody else seems to tend toward older teen to mid to early 30s.
Oh, that's different from what I would expect. Huh. That's odd.
And a couple of minutes later, you start smelling a particular smell, Two Rivers Tabak.
I love how that headcanon has just continued and continued.
Mm-hmm.
Well, people who listen to this but don't listen to the other podcast won't get the joke. So what I will say is, I will explain the joke this once. In the Watt Spoilers podcast, of which we are a part of under the Fox and Raven Media, the generally accepted headcanon, whether jokingly or not, is that Two Rivers Tobacco is weed. So anytime a joke is made about Two Rivers Tobacco, it's the same as pipe weed and Merry and Pippin in Lord of the Rings. They're Tolkien it up.
Ha ha ha. Don't ever say that again.
True though. It's actually true.
Right. Tolkien. It was a double layered pun. It was amazing.
Oh, we got it.
But I have to explain it so it becomes unfunny. So it definitely smells like it's the time of the night where they're just sort of literally chilling.
Sweet. So, yeah, I kind of want to go wander my way over to that circle.
Okay.
I mean, experiential learning, right?
Is that Aradia talking or is that Pimer talking?
Yeah.
Well, Pimer has definitely smoked Two Rivers Tobacco far less than Aradia has. So, because I live in the Two Rivers. That's also a thing. But, I mean, Pimer enjoys having a good time and relaxing, and Kira totally does not approve of this, so totally gonna go make my way over to that circle and do what hippies do, and I don't actually know how hippies would do it in this context, because we don't have the lighter problem. I can show up and I can make a little flame with the power to light the next fresh pipe.
For this, you will embrace the source. Like, I'm just curious how, like, when this is your motivation, instantly you embrace the source and create a flame.
Well, roll me an Arcana check. You have a target. You're trying to light a pipe, so I won't give you the modifiers.
Sweet. 13.
All right, you manage it barely, but you kind of you click and it doesn't, and then it doesn't, and it doesn't, and then poof, and you've got flame between your two fingers, and you are pretty much instantaneously accepted.
That's how that works. Sweet. So that's my plan for the rest of the night.
Nice. That's not really my jam. So I'm just going to kind of sit here and observe everyone else and keep petting the dog and eat some more popcorn and just sort of enjoy that we're in a safe environment without anything weird happening.
Sure. Why don't you go ahead and give me a perception check as well?
A 4.
Okay. So you're just kind of sitting and enjoying your whole attention, whether it's intentional or not. There's a young woman with dark hair in multiple braids with sort of dark hazel eyes, and she is trying, as she's kind of just going about her business, she seems to be scrubbing pots from dinner and then maybe mending a skirt or whatever she's doing. But every couple of seconds she keeps glancing up at you, and it's you've caught her several times. It's really easy to tell that she's having a hard time doing everything else she's doing because she keeps looking at you.
Do I recognize her from anywhere?
You do not.
Do I have anything on my face?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right, well, I think I'm just going to get up and walk over to her and introduce myself. Hello, I'm Amina. I've noticed that we keep kind of catching each other's eye, and I thought I'd come over and say hi.
And she she sees you walking over, her face immediately goes to the ground, and you start introducing yourself. Her skin's a little bit darker, so she's probably from somewhere out west. She might be Saldaean, she might be Damani, you can't really tell. But you can definitely tell that she's blushing. And she just kind of looks back up at you and she goes, hello, my name is Zeisel?
Zeisel? That's a very pretty name. Where are you from?
I'm of the Tuatha'an. I'm from everywhere and nowhere.
Oh.
She seems really nervous.
Yeah. Are you, a little uncomfortable about something? Do you want to talk?
You're just, like, you and your friends, you're just so free with each other. They don't seem to tell you what to do, and it's just interesting.
Are people telling you what to do?
And her face immediately, her eyes go wide, and she kind of, no, not at all. I love it here. This is exactly what I want to be doing with my life.
Well, I can see why you would feel that way, but I mean, just for fun, if there were something else that you'd want to be doing with your life, what would that be?
And she pauses for a second, and she's almost visibly getting up the courage to, like, say something. Like, her shoulders kind of come up like she's going to start talking, and then they sink back down. And they do that a couple of times. I would own a shop. I want to make dresses, but we're not supposed to be around people because they don't know the song.
Well, you're around these people, and you're around us, and it seems pretty okay.
You're the first group that Raylan has let stay in a really long time.
When was the last time he let people stay here?
Oh, we were in Kyrian.
Was that a while ago?
Couple of months, I think.
Well, what would happen if you decided to sell dresses?
Well, and she kind of looks around, and no one else seems to be really paying attention. You don't see Raylan. I told Raylan once that that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah, and what happened? How did he respond?
He told me my place was with the group, and that I would be betraying my people if I left.
Well, thank you for trusting me with this, and thank you for telling me about it. Mm-hmm. Do you have any of your wares? Could I see maybe some of the things that you've made?
I only have one thing. Raylan threw out everything else. He found me stitching something once, and he got rid of it.
What's the one thing that you have?
She kind of gets up, and she slowly just sort of... you can tell she thinks she's trying to be very slick, but she's very much like looking around and kind of walking stiffly like she's trying not to be suspicious. Mm-hmm. And outside of the wagons has various bits and bobs sort of hanging from it, tied to leather cords that would kind of clink and clatter as they go. They are tinkers. They do repair things. They have that sort of stuff. There's a sort of a woven wicker looking basket on the side, and she opens it up, and it appears to be for mending or for laundry or some other... There's a bunch of clothes in there, and she kind of digs her arm in, and she pulls something out real quick, and she kind of hides it, and then she puts the top back on the basket, and she kind of runs over to you real fast, and she shows you... She opens her hands and shows it to you, and it looks like it's the beginnings of a blouse. It's some kind of... I should say at this point that everybody's dressed in... It's not like Two Rivers woolens, but it's very like stout, practical, homespun stuff. Mm-hmm. And this is not quite silk, but it's something very soft and something very, very delicate looking. It's a blouse that's probably halfway done, of sort of a light blue, like a sky blue fabric.
This is beautiful. Where did you find this fabric?
When we were in Kyrian, there were some merchants in New Forgate, and we had to go trade for some things, and I managed to slip away for a minute when Raylan wasn't looking. I found a stall, and I bought it.
This fabric is fabulous. I love the color. It would look amazing, actually, with my hair and skin tone. And it feels... Shut up. It feels so soft and buttery, and would I be able to buy this from you? Like, if you were able to finish it tonight, could I buy it from you? I would love to have this and show it to my friends.
I could try. And she kind of looks up at the sky. Raylan goes to bed in a little bit. I could try and finish it then, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me see if I can make that easier on you. And so I'll just kind of walk back over to the fire and think about maybe using one of my new spells on Raylan. If I could maybe weave some flows of air and sort of stop up his ears a little bit, then maybe he'll sleep really soundly and leave her alone.
We could just murder him.
No, we cannot murder him. Stop it.
Wow. We're not murder hobos.
You just have to go there.
I'm just saying, he threw out her craft works. I want to kill somebody.
That is clearly a murdery offense.
Oh, sorry, I'm getting high by the fire. I didn't hear any of that.
Yeah.
Remind me after the recording is over, and I'll let you in on a little behind the scenes bit about this particular thing.
Okay.
Okay.
You can't just tell me now.
I mean, I do want cut this out of the recording.
Hey, before I can't cut it out of the video.
Oh no! Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, it's fine. It's fine. Whatever.
Fine.
So, this is metagame knowledge that is not allowed to influence the way your characters interact
Oh
with
no!
people.
All right, I'll try.
Not at all.
try.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
I promise.
If I had to equate Raylan to an actual real-life person, it would be Charles Manson.
That was the vibe I was getting. Yeah.
You've walked into the fucking Tinker Manson family.
Yeah. Yeah. The age disparity was like, and where's the Kool-Aid? I'm staying away from it.
Oh, ew.
Normally I wouldn't tell you that, but because I wanted to tell somebody.
Well, it can't affect my gameplay because I already fucking didn't like this guy and think he should get murdered. See, guys? See?
And yet you're still over there getting high. Thanks a lot. You're going to be really useful.
I'm...
Yes? Forging a bond.
Man, this Emmons Field stuff is big shit.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much, man. This is great.
Oh, man. All right. Well, I'm still thinking about ways that I can just sort of, stop up his ears while he's sleeping so that she can make me this beautiful blouse because it's blue, which of course is perfect.
We're not going to rescue the culties. We're just going to
Trade with them.
buy clothes from them and move on.
Well, yeah, because I remember reading in one of your giant boring books that in the past people had tried to rescue Tinkers and it didn't turn out very well.
I wouldn't call them my books, but
But they are
That's
boring.
the point.
However, I did find
They are
an
boring.
interesting story about a tinker who, became a not tinker. And it didn't end well. So I wouldn't do that to them.
all right.
But I will empower her through her craft.
Okay, well, that's stimulating the local economy. This is good.
Yes?
Eventually, Raylan does go to sleep. He kind of visually makes eye contact with everybody, and a couple of them sort of nod, and then he walks into the wagon. So if you wanted to do something, you would need to at least get eyes on him, so you would have a target for the flow of air. But there are, small windows that are open, so you could get a peek of him if you so chose.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Okay. Are you trying to be sneaky, stealthy about it?
No, because I don't want to seem odd. If someone else happens to see me being all sneaky and stealthy, they're gonna know something's up. So I'm just gonna kind of, nonchalantly walk around, act like I'm just kind of curious and checking things out.
Sure. Most of the group has gone to bed by this point. We'll say as the evening has progressed, it's getting to be about 9 p.m. And some are still by the fire. Some are done and are passed out sleeping wherever they happen to be when sleep took them. Raylan appears to have been the only one who went inside one of the wagons to sleep.
Okay. Well, I would still like to stop up his ears, just because he kind of gets on my nerves. I didn't like the way that he was talking to our Ogier friend. So I can't think of a better person to practice my new spell on. Or my new weaves on, I should say.
Okay, so go ahead and roll me an Arcana check.
19.
Okay, so you are something about this dude. You're just like, all right, you're down for this. You're fully stopped up with the power.
I am. I'm one with the power. The power's with me.
So all you're trying to do is stop up his ears with flows of air. Mechanically, how are we thinking that would work? I would go with either spell attack or sleight of hand.
Well, it's my blindness, deafness.
Oh, so that's right.
Thank goodness, because I was sitting there going, I have no idea.
I forgot that you picked blindness deafness as that's perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
So does he get a save of any kind, or is it just a thing that happens?
He gets a Constitution saving throw
Constitution saving throw. Okay.
for half damage.
But isn't he asleep?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it would be a disadvantage.
No, he's asleep. How would he can't defend against it at all.
No, he can't.
Oh.
He's
You're right.
unconscious.
Okay. So the duration is only 1 minute. But, I mean, I don't know. Spell durations and what is something that we're going to have to figure out how we want to deconflict.
But can I tie it off? I mean, since it's a weave.
That's a fate mechanical question. Have we worked out how we want to do tying off?
No, I keep forgetting it's a thing.
Well, I was gonna say I have the PDFs of the original Blot RPG. If we want to use that as at least a guideline.
If it's in there, let's yeah.
I mean, I tied off the weave on the bear.
But that's also while we were working on mechanics.
Yes, I'm reading through it right now. Okay, so yeah, you are able to weave small flows of air into his ears. He's not hearing anything, and you are also able to tie it off. You are still basically a novice, but it's gonna last long enough for her to finish what she needs to do. It's not gonna fall apart in minutes or anything.
Cool.
So I guess at this point, probably most of my smoking buddies will have passed out into the fire.
Into the fire.
Not into the fire.
Girl, I mean, dude.
No, they're probably mostly passed out. So I'm wandering back to the group, and do I have to roll to notice that Amina's channeling? I forget.
I don't think so. I think you could just see it.
You would see it.
Okay, yeah. So I see that Amina is glowing with the power and walk over like, what are you doing?
I'm not doing anything.
Oh, I'm just seeing things. That tobacco was better than I thought.
I told you to lay off that stuff, but you didn't listen, and now look, you think you're seeing stuff that you're not seeing.
I feel so ashamed.
Yeah, and you should maybe go sleep it off.
Can I insight her and see if she's completely fucking with me?
Go for it.
Okay, because I mean it was really good shit. So 17.
Give me a disadvantage because you are in
Oh,
a
okay.
very believing mood.
That's very fair. 8.
Okay, and Amina, go ahead and give me a deception roll. Just gotta be an 8.
It's just a little foggy in my face. But
Let's
whatever.
see. Deception.
Just like this is like just a vacation away from training. You know, like I don't like why would I not get high on a vacation?
14.
Yep,
Yeah.
you absolutely believe her.
Oh.
You're like, man, this stuff was really good.
Yeah, I guess I'll go get a drink of water and see you in the morning. Night.
Good night. Sleep well and wake.
Very, I love you.
I read that in one of your boring books too.
That slight delay, though.
And wake.
Yes, parenthetically. And awake.
Okay, so do you like let her know or whatever that she can do what she needs to do?
Yeah, so I'm just gonna kind of very quietly walk over to her and be like, you know what? I have a feeling that everyone's gonna sleep really well tonight. So how about if you just go ahead and work on the shirt and then let me know, what you want for it, and I think we can work something out.
And her face kind of brightens. She's like, thank you. Okay, I'll get right to work. And she kind of grabs her necessary materials and she kind of walks off near the fire, but not in view of the wagon that Raylan is currently sleeping in, and she starts to get to work. Does anybody else want to do anything at this point? So Pimer's probably going to have really good sleeps.
Well, I mean, I have to get some chips first.
Some White Castle.
Taco Bell,
Yeah.
whatever's open right now, right? Like,
Is there like a Denny's nearby?
Yeah.
I'm gonna need 24 quesadillas.
But yes, I'm going to bed.
Okay. So after picking through the leftovers of dinner, just kind of haphazardly like, oh, that looks tasty, Pimer eventually crashes out. What about Lance and Quirkus?
Lance would have went to bed pretty early because that's what soldiers do. But I only need to sleep for like 4 or 5 hours, and then I'm wide awake, running circles, not running circles, but making rounds.
Got it. Doing the percepting, patrolling shenanigans.
Yes.
Okay, so give me a perception check.
15.
Okay, so you're doing your walkabout, and nothing seems to be amiss in the camp. And you're just hearing the firelight, the campfire. You're hearing sort of the natural sounds of the woods. As you're doing your circles, you're just kind of looking around. You see the sky off to the northwest, sort of in the general area of where you're headed. And you notice that there's sort of a red glare on the horizon.
Glare?
Like some sort of bright light is over in that direction. It's too deep of a red to be like fire. Like it looks almost like an artificial red. And it goes bright for a second, and then it goes dark.
Repeatedly or just once?
Just the once.
I'm gonna look over. Is Quirkus awake or is he snoring?
No, I have been writing up in my notebooks since we've generally been on the road fairly late, and then we ran into some interesting people who wanted to give us gifts. So this is my first chance to really write some notes on the vegetation that we've been passing and on the events of this evening and my ideas about the song. So I've been awake probably until about 11 or 12, and then I'll decide maybe to call it a night. So I'm probably awake when you start your rounds.
But probably not when I finish them. Okay. I'm gonna take a mental note of it. And is anyone else awake at this point? Like in the Tinkers?
No.
And the dogs didn't react.
Nope.
Huh. Okay. I'm gonna kind of rumble through my head on what the F just happened and start getting the fires ready when it's time.
Are you staying up all night, or are you just doing like one shift?
Well, if I went to bed early and then slept for that 4 hours, I'd be up at probably midnight, and then I'd be up.
Okay. So the sun begins to peak over the horizon. People start slowly stirring from wherever they happened to crash, and you've got the campfire sort of up and going again.
Good morning.
And they nod and they smile, and Amena, she would have come to you probably a couple of hours ago if you were still awake.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you were sleeping or what your plan was for the night.
I was awake. That weave is so new, I don't really trust it, and I figure if I get tired, I can just sleep in the wagon if I need to.
Okay. Well, after a couple of hours of work, she would have brought it to you, and she would have just been like, it's a gift. Please just take it.
Oh, no. This is exquisitely done. I have to give you some kind of compensation.
I don't know. I don't know.
What size shoe do you wear?
Of all the questions you can ask, what size shoe do you wear?
You know what? You're not just...
Lore Master is shoe stupid. So I'm going to say her feet are a little bit smaller than yours. She's younger than you are. So she's a couple of sizes smaller.
All right.
I don't know about feet.
All right. So I'm going to just like kind of take her by the hand and walk her over to where my things are. And I'm going to say, you know what? I have this pair of shoes that I bought, and they kind of pinch my feet a little bit, but I think they would look amazing on you. Would you like to have them? They're brand new. I've never even really worn them.
I couldn't ask for something like that. That's a precious gift.
Well, your work is a precious gift, and I think that we can call this a fair trade.
Okay, sure.
Okay, so I'll take out the shoes and I'll hand them to her.
And she basically looks, she takes them and she holds them and she looks at them like you basically just handed her like ingots of platinum or something. And then she kind of just tucks them up under her arm and scurries away to go put them somewhere safe.
Cool.
And so now fast forward back to the morning. I'm assuming you probably went back and slept after that.
I didn't actually, because I just kept thinking about how I didn't like how beaten down this girl seemed and how afraid she was to just express herself, but it made me feel really good that I was able to bring her a little bit of joy. So I just kind of lay there sort of mulling that over in my head.
Okay. Morning arrives, everybody's starting to get up and eat. From somewhere, Calf appears. And
I'm awake!
people are able to start downing Calf and the breakfast, which is mostly just warmed up leftovers from last night. But, you know, maybe it's strips of beef on a roll of some kind or something. They don't like to waste.
Aren't they vegetarian?
They are not.
Oh, did that change? Isn't the third day?
This group apparently doesn't seem to.
Oh, that's how
follow
we know
that
they're
tenet.
fake IEL. IEL, fake takers. They're fake IEL. Double fake IEL.
Are you sure? I think they're supposed to be vegetarians.
Third age ones were vegetarian, but Breaking of the World era tinkers were not.
These ones are just like those fake environmentalists who stick lots of green stickers up everywhere, but really just talk the talk and don't have anything to back it up.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They just like...
Yep.
I don't know, but
Greenwashing hypocrites.
they wouldn't still be looking for the song, though, if they were more like the pre-breaking tinkers, right?
That's true.
Unless it's our clue that they're not real tinkers.
Dreadlords.
Do we know this? Like, are we actually making these connections?
I
Sure. Yeah, I mean, you can.
Do we have to
If
roll
that's-
anything for it?
No, with this sort of, you're like you weren't thinking about it last night because you were just given food and it was fine. But now you're like, wait a second.
Yeah, because like I thought.
It was funny to watch Quirkus give the verbal beatdown to Raylan, but you're like, weird philosophy, not vegetarian. And then I'm sure Amena would start to clue in on the age disparity between Raylan and everybody else.
Yeah, it's kind of creepy. I'm not liking it.
Not everything is adding up. One and one is not making two.
No, and I don't really want to eat their food anymore because something is just, I don't know. It's not right.
I think you're onto something.
Thank you.
Do you believe they're not real tinkers at all?
I don't really know what to believe. I just know that I feel increasingly uncomfortable in their presence, and I would like to GTFO as quickly as possible.
Okay, but I need to finish breakfast because honestly, this is really good.
And I'm just gonna like kind of like, oh, whoops, and like bump into you and knock your breakfast all over.
Dude.
Oh, I'm sorry, but we gotta go, so let's go.
Fine, can I refill my coffee at least?
You may not. I don't trust them.
Amena, you seem suspicious of their leader. Do you think there's any way we could distract them and get a peek into his wagon?
I have this wave of invisibility.
There's something.
Are you still
not
stoned?
right here.
No.
Are you actually gonna be invisible?
I slept it off. I'm just saying, so next morning I managed to have 2.5 bowls of stew before you spilled half of it over my nice shoes, my nice broken and walking boots.
I will clean them, I'm sorry. The dog's already licking it off your boots anyway.
I know, right? I'm just like, and now I have 3 new best friends. It's fine. So yeah, like, I don't know. I guess I wouldn't propose that unless Quirkus actually said something.
I have just said something.
Okay.
You're still stoned.
Shut.
That was magic stew.
Magic smoke. So when Quirkus mentions sneaking, I'm gonna perk up and be like, I actually remember I was telling you guys I have a way of bending light to become invisible if we want to sneak into somewhere.
I don't remember that, but yeah, do that.
Wow. Someone's feeling bossy right now. Okay, so where is the dude?
Oh, well, he is, and I just kind of like sort of inconspicuously like point over to where his wagon is.
Oh, is he still in his wagon?
He hasn't gotten up yet. No, you haven't seen him.
Okay, well, he should probably leave his wagon before we sneak into
He
it.
might not hear you. I'm just gonna put that out there.
Oh, okay, sure. So I'm gonna try to embrace the source.
Roll me an Arcana check. Are you angry? Or you have a? I guess you have a target. You have a. Do you have?
Do I have a target?
Nope.
I honestly, I'd be wanting to do it to myself, so I don't.
So
I'm
nope.
not aiming at anything. So no, this is
Yeah.
gonna be with the horrible inability to.
I love the block mechanic.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I
Oh, and
got
you
a
did-
natural 1, so there goes my
Yeah.
hope for a natural 20 to save me. So I'm gonna get all excited and then furrow my brow, and I haven't tested the weave yet. I'm not actually ready to sneak into anywhere. Never mind. I mean, I could sneak in like visibly, but my ability to go invisible is I need to work on that.
Can we like create a fire as a distraction or something? Although he's still in his thing, we probably shouldn't set that on fire while he's in there.
I could just go start doing target practice. That would scare the living crap out of them. But that would be pretty rude. We know they're tinkers.
Kind of. Tinkers-ish.
It's a pity we don't have any subject that we can distract him with.
What are they interested in? The
Young
song.
girls.
But, like, is there anything that this group is?
Yeah.
Maybe we could tell them we found a pile of purple fabric up the road and they should go get it.
Pimer, go ahead and roll me.
Okay.
Now that you're clear-headed, go ahead and roll me a perception check.
Oh. 5. Jesus.
Okay. Amena, would you like to swoop in and help?
I would like to saunter on in. I will sashay What am I rolling?
A perception.
Perception.
So we're looking around and being very suspicious of everything.
I am highly perceptive.
You are with
Yeah.
an 18. With an 18, not only do you notice the age disparity between Raylan and everybody else, but as you're looking around, your initial thought is something along the lines of, I could see myself interacting with these people. If you were to put both the men, not obviously the children, but if we're including the men and the boys 18 plus and the women, every one of them on a scale of 1 to 10 is at least an 8.5. They are all exceedingly absurdly attractive people.
That is very unusual. You don't usually find this many very attractive people within the same group. As much as I'm intrigued, I'm also a little bit creeped out because I know that this is not the norm. And as someone who is also exceedingly attractive, I feel like I should get out of here. I feel like we should get out of here ASAP.
Are the people spread evenly across nation of origin? Or not evenly, but are they all from one nation versus from many?
There's varies.
Okay.
You can see what look like probably Kyrianan, there's some Endoran, there's maybe at least a Saldean or two.
Okay, cool.
There's just sort of generally all over.
So that much about them is normal, at least.
I wish we had an eavesdropping weave.
And that is where we close the book for now. Come join us next time on Just Roll With It.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. Are you enjoying Just Roll With It? Do you want to keep up with all of the shenanigans and updates and maybe interact with us online? Follow us on Twitter at @just_roll or Instagram at @justrowlwithitpodcast with underscores between each word. Are you interested in maybe earning cool gaming dice or other awesome perks? Our Patreon is patreon.com/JRWI. We use Sirenscape for all of our sound effects and are a production of Fox and Raven Media.
What if you were to get the computer to do something like 10 rolls in a row instantly, and depending on the point score that you got for each of those rolls, that would determine how many hours/minutes, whatever you wanted to use, the weave could be tied off for. And if you failed the second of those rolls, then you couldn't proceed any further.
That might work. Sorry, I'm looking. So the original Watt RPG used the 3.5 system, though, so there are feats, and tying off the weave is a feat. I'm trying to see if there's anything we can use.
Thanks for being patient, you guys, in the chat, by the way.
This is one of the
Perks.
perks of listening live, I guess, is us trying to figure out how the rules are going to work.
Yeah.
It all sounds so much better once we've all edited it down.
We are play testing, too, so...
So, in the series and stuff, in canon, when are people able to tie off? Are novices able to tie things off? Because I thought it was one of those things that, like, I know Egwene and Elaine can do it pretty early, but they're also the Supergirls.
And they gain that power after they pass their accepted test. They gain it instinctively. They just sort of figure it out. But other Aes Sedai know how to do it, I believe. Wait, do they?
Well, they do if they've seen other people do it.
I do.
So,
Right, I'm just trying to think, did the Supergirls bring it back to the world?
No, they
Or
don't.
not?
No.
No, I don't.
No.
So here, according to the old RPG, in case we want to work on the rules, this is what it says. Tie off weave. You can tie off your weaves, leaving them in effect indefinitely without having to hold them. The prerequisite is a wisdom score of 13 plus. Benefit: with this feat, you can keep a weave that you have cast with a duration of concentration in effect indefinitely without having to hold it. The weave simply continues to function until you release it, regardless of what you do or where you are. To release the weave, you must be able to see it. A tied-off weave will eventually unravel and end. The duration of a tied-off weave is equal to your channeler level in days, minus 4 times the casting level of the weave in hours. A 4th level weave cast by a 7th level initiate and tied off would remain in effect for 6 days and 8 hours. And tying off a weave is an action of some kind, attack or move. That doesn't really help because it's not the same system as we're using, but...
So my wisdom has to be 13 or higher. Or I have to roll wisdom.
According to that.
Okay, my wisdom is 15. So I'm sufficiently wise to tie off this weave.
I feel like that's the kind of thing that they probably get taught as accepted, but I don't think we ever get a canon answer because it's such a basic mechanic of the power.
Why do you guys keep doing this to me?
You're welcome. We're helping you.
I mean, they are kind of poking holes, which is what we were
I know, but man.
You told us to do stuff like this.
Maybe just make it something that like you get once you get to the accepted level, which is what, level 5 or whatever. I'm sorry. I don't want to break the game.
That's what
just
I'm
for
actually
you.
going back and forth on is, you know, it's intended to be those sets of 5 for being able to do things. I would say for tonight, have like some kind of arcana check since she's over at that 13 or 15 or whatever DC you want, and then we'll discuss finite rules for it.
Okay, so why don't you do that? Because you have a wisdom score of 15, I'll make the DC 10. So why don't you roll me 5 arcana checks, and you have to make 10 or higher on 3 of them.
I can do that.
That's really convoluted, but that'll work for tonight.
And what determines which weaves you're allowing to be tied off? Is that just circumstantial? You'll make a judgment call on whether, based on the books, it sounds like the type of weave that could be tied off. Because you can't tie off a lot of weaves in the books.
There are certain weaves that you can and can't tie off. We're going to have to go through the weaves at some point and sort of just...
And kind of mark them like tie offable, yes, no, because like you can't tie off attack spells or weaves, but you can tie off like this particular one because it's not necessarily an attack, you're having a cause and effect.
Yeah, there's a deep dive on weaves is going to have to be, it's going to have to want to be one of our things. You know, components are basically going to be verbal and semantic or just semantic, whether or not it's tie-offable. Most utility weaves, I imagine, could probably be tied off, but it's going to have to be on a case-by-case basis.
Well, I rolled the shit out of this arcana check. I'm just going to say that right now.
Yeah, I saw the natural 20. So even based on that, yeah, no, he's got earplugs of air. He's not hearing shit.
No, can I do like a screenshot of these rolls and share it with them?
Sure, those are actually really impressive rolls.
Yeah.
Somebody's focused.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? Because we're just taking this sort of rules deviation. Leia, what do you mean Aes Sedai levels via D&D? Just what level is everybody?
1 through 5 is novice. 6 through 10 is accepted. 11 through 15 is Aes Sedai. 16 to 20 is legendary Aes Sedai, or world renowned.
It's sort of what we're doing.
And then I'm working on the Children of the Light, the Aiel, the Ogier, the Ogier, the Sanche, like all the different races and cultures.
I think for the Ogier, it basically comes down to the question of how long are my eyebrows and are they grey or not?
And will Amena trim them in your sleep?
Can attend the Great Stump, can listen, can talk, can run.
Totally.
Yeah. I have the PDFs of the old 3.5 watt RPG, and so that's where a lot of this basis is coming from. It's a completely different rule set with completely different roles, and it's much more of a pain in the ass, but it's at least a decent basis because somebody has tried this before, so it's not like we're shooting completely in the dark. We're just mostly in the dark.
Would it help if we all got together remotely on Google Hangouts at some point and just hammered through it, talking to each other to help you prove the ideas that you two have? Once
I've got them written up, that would be a really good idea. Because like I'm writing this as we're going.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the one we wanted a basic, building block of it ready so we could play, and it's impossible to go through the entire thing. Playtesting takes like 24 people years, and we're the 2 of us, and it's been months. So this is definitely just sort of haphazard as we go along.